West Ham get us underway. It might only be match day 2, but with only 22 games in a league season, every point counts. Two teams who played each other in a friendly at the end of August. Might have been a little bit hotter that day than it is in a rather soggy Friday night. A 2-0 victory for Arsenal that day. An Arsenal side who actually lost to Tottenham in one of their pre-season friendlies. It's the home side who have the ball at the moment. Played to Gori, their captain. And then it's Tisiak who turns it back to Megan Walsh. Who might well not have expected to be part of the plans for West Ham so early, as here it drops to Alessia Russo. Might come back to the England striker. Now Fox is advancing down this near side. Back to Reed. And West Ham have to have their wits about them, Molly, don't they?
They do indeed, yeah. I think obviously with Alessia Russo leading the line, with not only her on the ball, her off the ball, she works so hard, and I think as a player that's played against that, you see her all over the pitch. So it's a really difficult one for West Ham to kind of get hold of her and keep the ball, especially, you know, in their final third, like they're trying to do right now.
Ball is with her, Says deep inside her own half as she turns it backwards, comes up to Ueki, but it's Kim Little who wins the battle. Now with Mariona Caldente, back to Reed. Really quick passing from Arsenal.
Yeah, and that's something Arsenal will do, but I think there we saw, you know, Ueki needs to kind of hold the ball up a little bit better to help her teammates get up the pitch and help them, you know, get out of that, or else they'll just sustain constant pressure from Arsenal. You know, they don't want that for 90 minutes.
We weren't entirely sure how West Ham were going to line up this evening, but it looks like Tisiak has dropped into a back 5. So they have definitely set themselves up, expecting this kind of attacking threat from this Arsenal side, as the pass is just a bit too strong for Beth Mead, who came off the bench to set up 2 of Arsenal's goals against London City Lionesses. We're well aware of what she offers as a player, but, well, the depth of that Arsenal squad means that she's probably going to have to just wait for opportunities like this, isn't she?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she did the only thing that she could do, you know, come on and assist 2 goals. I mean, what more do you want from a substitution? But now is her time to prove why, you know, she has that number 9 shirt. She wants to play every single week, and I think ultimately that's the reason she stayed at Arsenal, because she does want to play and she loves the club and she wants to be in this team week in, week out.
Strongly linked with a move to London City Lionesses in the summer. Instead, instrumental in that big win for Arsenal against them on the opening day of the season. Walsh. Her first WSL game in charge was a game against West Ham. Her first actual game in charge was a Champions League fixture. Renee Slegers, after Jonas Eideval resigned from his position last season.
And how good has the Champions League turned out to be for Arsenal?
2-time winners. As here Caldente turns it back to Van Domselaar. Comes back into midfield. Strong from Siren here. Out to Martinez. Martinez hangs the ball up. Oh, and Van Domselaar couldn't get onto it. And West Ham have the lead. A brilliant ball in from the wing. Disappointment from the Arsenal goalkeeper, but delight for West Ham, who lead against the European champions early here.
Wow, well, obviously that is a mistake from Van Domslaan, something we actually do not see very often from her, and I think she hasn't touched the ball yet in this game, and, you know, for her, that's an easy catch, that's an easy, you know, grab, and I already think she's thinking about what she's going to do next with the ball, and she's took her eye off the ball there. And, you know, just a mistake, and unfortunately for Arsenal, they end up 1-0 down.
So is that a Martinez goal, or is that a Van Domselaar own goal? I mean, it bounces off the post, off the back of the Arsenal goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think that's actually going to go down as an own goal, because I don't actually think it's going in. I don't actually think that ball's going to go in the goal unless Van Domselaar, you know, gets hold of it. And what a shame, because she is so instrumental for Arsenal.
Well, I wonder if the conditions are playing their parts on a wet Friday night. The ball might have been slightly slippy as it just was released from the grip of the Arsenal goalkeeper. And West Ham are ahead here. Now it's forward to be chased by Mornham. We've got our first corner of this game.
Yeah, and I think obviously Arsenal are going to try and make something happen, but I think from a West Ham perspective, they've got everything they wanted from the first, you know, 5 minutes of this game, and actually now West Ham have something to hold on to, they have something to cling on to. If they can, obviously they've set up quite defensively, as we've seen. If they can keep it tight at the back, you know, this could be an amazing result for West Ham.
You can see how heavy the rain is falling here as Arsenal take the first corner of this game to the far post. Drops off ahead at that far post, and, well, it's gone out for a second corner in succession. We put in a Hanshaw there this time to take it out of play. Katie McCabe, the player who runs across to take this second set piece in succession. So low drive, it ends up in the side netting, and a bit of a waste of an opportunity there for Arsenal.
Yeah, I think so. I think she's obviously tried to put it at the front post because the last one went so far to the back post, you know, to put the defending team off. But it is a waste, especially in this weather, as we've just seen, you know, the ball slippy, and you know, you might want to put it on the goalie there, you know, coming in the second game. So maybe they just should have put a little bit more pressure on West Ham for that one.
Martinez loses the ball, but now West Ham clear it forward as Say's trying to get there. It was an Arsenal player who just stood in her way, Daphne Van Domselaar, who kept 14 clean sheets in 24 appearances last season, 10 of those in the WSL. But she will not be keeping a clean sheet this evening.
She won't, and I think she's hoping that, you know, the one goal is all she concede tonight, and try and go and let her forward players do their job and kind of save her from the mistake.
Of course, Arsenal were behind at the Emirates. Aslani penalty after Katie Reid, is on the ball at the moment, had brought down the London City Lionesses captain inside the 18-yard box. But that didn't stop them being 2-1 up before half-time and 4-1 up when the full-time whistle blew. How are these conditions going to feel for both teams, but obviously the team that are now behind, Molly?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've played in these conditions, you know, I do on a regular basis, and as a player it's really tough because you don't have that control over the ball that you would usually have, you know, on a dry pitch, and, you know, the ball runs a little bit quicker, and the passes kind of, they're getting zipped in. So it is more difficult, but Arsenal just have to play their game. They need to, ball speed will be really, really important in this game, especially if West Ham are, you know, defending really deep as well.
Well, West Ham inside their own half at the moment. Clipped up into the air by Katie McCabe. Likes to tuck her shirt into her shorts, doesn't she? Now it's with Mead. The block is by Hanshaw. Gets in away. Fox keen to take the throw in quickly. With Kim Little, who has no intention of retiring just yet. I spoke to her recently and asked her about that. She was not going to give me an exclusive on when those boots were being hung up.
I think for her, it's never.
Yeah.
She wants it to be never anyway.
What a 18 months or so it's been for Alessia Russo, who's just caught behind the West Ham defence there. But of course, the joint leading goal scorer in the Women's Super League last season, on her way to becoming a European champion with England yet again. Forward from the home side. Hanshaw is being pressured by Meads. Little turns the ball back to Reeds. Turns 19 a little bit later this month, 25th of September. 18 years of age, she is the player who is asked to be Leah Williamson, essentially, in her absence. Here it's with Gorry. Gorry forwards. Martinez, good control from her. McCabe, though, collects. Siran stands in her way. Picks it back up for the home side. Mead in the way of Ueki. Now, just a little too strong for Alessia Russo, who I think is the only player out there who's decided to have some long sleeves under her short sleeves.
I certainly would be in this weather as well.
I agree. The rain has been relentless so far. Well, no one would have expected the scoreline to be as it is, as we are. Or perhaps West Ham and Rhian Skinner might have hoped for it, but they have taken an early lead here, West Ham.
And that's what I mean, you know, as the so-called underdog coming into the game, the first 10 minutes for West Ham is all you can hope for as that side. To go 1-0 up against a team like Arsenal, and then West Ham are doing a really, really good job at getting close and putting pressure on the Arsenal players, especially in their own half, and they're winning it back quite high, which that's celebrated among the players.
Asay turns it back. Now it's Hanshaw who stayed up the pitch. Little back heel from her. Well, that looked like it was building to something special, but I think Ueki is stopped by an offside flag.
And I think if Hanshaw hadn't touched that, I think Ueki would have been in there, because I don't think, you know, anyone was getting to that ball. So yeah, I think Arsenal need to, you know, get a little bit tighter at the back to the fluid front three of West Ham.
Well, Arsenal suffered 2 defeats in 2 of their last 3 games of last season. Got a win on the final day of last season just to confirm their spot in second place in the table, behind a Chelsea side who'd somewhat run away with it. Launched forward, and it's Nystrom who's there at the back to take it out for McCabe to throw it back onto the pitch quickly for Arsenal. Again, good pressure from West Ham. Ueki to Asay. Just can't quite control it.
Yeah, and that's a shame. You know, you want your forward players to be able to handle that ball, like, you know. But I think credit to West Ham again. Ueki is really doing well at leading that line through the middle, and it looks like she's got Martinez and Asay, you know, come with me kind of be on a piece of string and don't let them play through the middle of us, which for Arsenal, that's what they want to do, and stopping that's really going to be essential for them.
Russo chasing the ball. Tisiak is with her. Fox. Now with Mornham, low drive. Tisiak stands in the way. Mornham was planning to win the corner there, wasn't she?
I think so. I think she's just seen that she's obviously gone to ground, kind of, so to speak, and Mornham's just thought, there's nobody in the box, I need to give my team an opportunity to put something in and hopefully do better than obviously the last corner that we saw. Set piece are going to be really important in games like this, especially with the weather as it is.
So another corner for Arsenal, who trail here at the moment. Where will this delivery go? To the far post. Mornham was open. Meads trying to get to the loose ball. West Ham just get it as far away from their goal as possible. Well, since they got that early goal, West Ham, they have spent quite a bit of time in their own half.
They have, but at this point, I don't think they really mind, because, you know, we can't say that Arsenal have had like an out-and-out chance where they should have scored, and I think West Ham, if they stay defensively tight, you know, it will be difficult for Arsenal to break down a block, especially a mid to low block, which West Ham, you know, when they're in Arsenal's final third, that's what they're in at the moment, so it's going to be really difficult for Arsenal to break that down.
With Caldente, little drop of the shoulder from her. Now comes to Little. She carries on running through midfield. She seemed like she had plenty of space there. Mornham now, who lifts it over the crossbar and out of play. Reminder that towards the end of last season, these two sides played each other in a 7-goal thriller. But Arsenal ended up winning 4-3, but West Ham had 2 early goals in that game, both from Amber Tisiak. They were 2-0 up after 12 minutes. And of course against an Arsenal side who didn't concede that many goals once Renee Slegers had taken charge. With Van Domselaar, who just has to get that mistake out of her mind, but hasn't been tested since. That ball went in, having bounced off the post and off her back from the cross from the West Ham right-hand side. McCabe forwards, plays the ball between a couple of West Ham defenders. Sliding in was Nystrom, well aware that Russo was trying to get there first. Well, almost 2/3 of the possession so far for Arsenal, but it is West Ham who have the leads.
It is, and that's the thing, you know, in the WSL. Possession stats sometimes don't tell you the full story, and I think that's the case in a lot of games. Especially when, you know, Arsenal are so good and West Ham know what they're coming up against. They are happy for Arsenal to have the ball in, you know, maybe not so damaging areas, but I do think the corners are going to be essential in this game.
That the goal that separates the two sides at the moment. We've seen how heavy the rain has been falling. The ball just slipping out of the gloves of the Arsenal goalkeeper and into the back of her net. Reed versus Ueki. Arsenal throw finds Little, who joined an Arsenal team that had just won a European trophy and then had a little break in America, but was back and wearing the captain's armband to lift that trophy in Lisbon. I think it's probably fair to say that they were the underdogs. Even they accepted that label. But not only did they win, they didn't even concede a goal, which is pretty extraordinary against that Barcelona team.
Yep, and that's what I mean. If you get a team on their day, it doesn't matter if you're the underdog. If you can get that, you know, that golden goal, that golden egg, going 1-0 up and holding on to it, then the prize is all yours.
It's quite a long time for West Ham to hold on to a 1-goal lead here. Poked in by Russo. Mead forward. Mornham turns, and it's 1-1. Quick passing from Arsenal. Frida Leonardson-Mornham to make it 1-1.
Yeah, what a great team goal from Arsenal. You know, they've played it quickly, the ball speed into Beth Mead, who gets another assist. And Mornham, you know, doing what she does best, getting high and being able to turn and take the defender away and just, you know, putting it away from that glove of Megan Walsh.
Good vision, but again, would Rhian Skinner feel that her defenders should have done better?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one because you don't want anybody turning in the box. You know, what Mornham does there, she's turned and got a shot off, and you ideally, you know, in an ideal world, you don't want that. So I do think, you know, Rhian Skinner is going to be a bit upset of the players, but look, it's still all to play for in this game, and there'll be chances at either end.
A goal as a substitute on match day 1, a goal as a starter on match day 2 for Frida Leonardson-Mornham. Renee Slegers calls her substitutes game changers. And just as I was saying that it was an awfully long time for West Ham to hold on to a 1-goal lead, it's all square.
And that's with Arsenal, you give them one chance and, you know, they're more than likely going to score it just because of how good they are on the ball, the quality players that they have.
Rhian Skinner, speaking ahead of this fixture, said it was unusual for Arsenal not to score goals in a game, so you've got to prepare for that and not let it put you off what you want to achieve. Hear those travelling fans singing a little bit louder now. And Shaw with the throw. Fox to Reeves. So much information that managers are getting during the course of a game. Often they like to be scribbling away in notebooks.
Yeah, honestly, it's crazy. On the side, you know, they have iPads and all sorts of technology where they can see, you know, instant replays of what's just happened, and that's how they get, you know, the tactics on the pitch to the players and how they can change games so quickly.
Mead to Caldente. Forward to Mead again. Mead with a lovely ball that just went across the mouth of the West Ham goal. Well, she's having a great game this evening so far, isn't she?
She is. You can't knock her at all. And I think, you know, as a winger, my eyes are lighting up when that ball's coming to the opposite, you know, the back post. You want to be on the end of it because, you know, you're getting in without a player on your back. So it's just a shame that, you know, Ford couldn't get on the end of that, but Beth Mead really has been instrumental in this game for Arsenal so far.
Catley seems to be slightly pulling on the shirt of Shakira Martinez there. Denton with the throat to the chest of Martinez. Now with Mornham. Fox up to Mead. Mead with the ball in. Whoosh, punches it away. It was Russo just a little bit too close. I wasn't quite sure there what the referee was blowing a whistle for.
Yeah, I think Russo's just got a little bit too close for comfort on the keeper, but another great ball from Beth Mead down this right-hand side. Really, really inviting for the front line to go and try and get on the end of it.
Well, we've spoken about one goalkeeper. Goalkeeper in the West Ham goal is Megan Walsh, who had to come on for an injured Kinga Shemmick in the game against Tottenham, in which there was one shot on target per team over the course of the 90-plus minutes. And the only shot on target for Tottenham was the penalty that she had to try and save from Bethany England. She went the right way, but it was a decent penalty, unsurprisingly, from England to give Tottenham the lead in that game. Pass from Mornham. Russo. Now with McCabe. Bounces to Ueki. Most of the Arsenal players stay forwards. Most of the West Ham players stay back. Bounces off Mead. So then tries to find Ueki. Now with Mariona Caldente, WSL Player of the Season last season, which is interesting considering how dominant Chelsea were, but as an individual, certainly she stood out. Comes to her now. Ford, one of the players waiting inside the 18-yard box. Lots of Arsenal players are waiting for a cross. Doesn't come yet. Shepherded out of play by Tisiak. Make sure that goes out for a goal kick. Couldn't quite work something out there, could they, Arsenal?
Yeah, I think they've tried to be a little bit too neat and tidy down that left-hand side, but they're stringing passes together now, and they're getting in West Ham's final third. And I think, another inviting ball like that one, we've seen there from Beth Mead, or one from Caitlin Ford on the other side. And if Russo can get on the end of it, then it'll be great play.
And more often than not, Russo does get on the end of it.
She does indeed.
Didn't get any of the 4 goals scored at the Emirates last weekend, but I'm sure over the course of this season she will hope to get into double figures yet again in the Women's Super League and be part of Arsenal's journey in yet another Champions League, as well as those domestic cups. Pass forward to Ueki. Reed can't stop the Ueki cross. The angle getting tight, and well, Asay was at the back post, but couldn't quite find her with that ball.
Yeah, great pass into Ueki, and then she does really well. She obviously is pinning herself up against Katie Reid, young defender. I think she's kind of seen that from last week maybe, and said to herself, I'm going to put myself up against Katie Reid because she's, maybe a little bit more inexperienced than Steph Catley. But I do think Katie Reid's been put under a little bit of pressure, when she's on the ball, when she's, going in to defend. I think that is where West Ham have kind of said, like, look, this is where we can exploit them and maybe get one up on them in the back line.
With Tisiak. Looks for options left and right. I'm sure Rhian Skinner would have been very pleased with what she saw from her side initially, but will have expected Arsenal to create their own opportunities here. as they did to score that equaliser. Forward from Fox. Mead back to Fox. Say is the player who's sliding in, and it was a defender in an attacking position against a forward in a defending position.
Yeah, great play from Asai there to get back and help her team. You know, she's obviously done a long run getting in from that front free position where she's been playing, but that's what West Ham need when Arsenal's, you know, full-backs are getting high up the pitch. You need your left and right wingers to get in.
So another corner for Arsenal. Catley, the player closest to the West Ham goalkeeper, bounces off the head of Russo. Again, plenty of players back for West Ham just to clear it up the pitch. Thrown back on to Morna. Now with Russo, looking to cut this back. Comes down to be lifted high into the crowd from Mariona Caldente. Initial ball looking for Mead, cleared by Zadorsky. And then Caldente doesn't bother Walsh with her efforts. Pretty good from the penalty spot as well, isn't she, Mariana Caldente?
She is indeed, yeah. I think if you've got a penalty, I don't think there's anyone else you'd want on the ball, is there?
Well, she might have taken those duties off Kim Little, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is a tough thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. 9 goals for her last season in the WSL. And speaking of penalties, scored penalties in both games against West Ham last season. And both of these teams conceding penalties in their first game of this new campaign. Well, as far as passes completed goes, you can see how effective Arsenal have been at finding a teammate. Forward from Reed, now with Meads. McCabe with a cross that's just a little too high and strong. Looks up into that dark and grey sky, I would imagine now.
Yeah, I think she's a bit disappointed in herself. She has such high standards, you know, she was just a little bit off balance there, trying to put it to the back post for the runners coming in.
Now with Meads. Squirms away from Hanshaw and Gorry. Taken back into midfield. Touch from Fox to Little. Ueki to Siren. Pass picked up by Reed. Catley. Away from Mornham. Tisiak turns it back to Walsh. And you can see, actually, I'm just watching the West Ham players looking for each other, and you can see what Rhian Skinner has done to kind of prepare them for the threat of Arsenal. They're all looking for their teammates, and where are you? And, you know, you saw Ueki and Nasai helping out defensively there. You can see the kind of work that they've done to try and nullify this Arsenal threat.
Yeah, the structure that they'll have had all week in training You know, it will have been like hammering them that you need to stay tight defensively to beat this team. You need to be here, you need to be here, and it'll be, you know, strict instructions.
And every single one of them is
yeah,
helping out
absolutely.
defensively.
You need like all 11 players.
Martinez there, looking for a Say, who ends up being blocked by Fox. As a result, it is a free kick. The Say will take. Free kick comes in. Martinez got her head to it. Well, she got some contact, but maybe couldn't quite see where she was trying to aim that ball.
Yeah, it's a really difficult one when a ball's coming in like that, because Martinez is kind of already behind it, so she's trying to flick it on instead of being able to get open and get a really good header on it. She's trying to kind of flick it over Van Domsmoor.
Really made an impact in the second half of last season. And Bunny Shaw and Alessia Russo scored more WSL goals than her, and she had half a season to score hers in, including scoring in what ended up being a draw against Chelsea last season. Diane Skinner's side taking one of the few teams to take points off Sonia Bonpastor's side last season.
Yeah, I think playing against Martina, you know, she's a great player, and her work rate as well is incredible. Look at her, you know, getting onto that ball. Now, I think she's such a talent, and she's still so young, and she's got, you know, such a great future ahead of her in this league as well.
Can West Ham hold on to her? Maybe that's a discussion for another time.
I think they'll hope so. You know that they're trying to get contracts in as well, trying to keep players. So she's definitely one they'll want to keep hold of.
Chases the throw-in. Gorry gets there first. And Shaw in a little bit of space. Fox is quickly there. Side brings down Beth Mead, just holding her head now. The Arsenal number 9 felt that a little bit. I think it was more like ball bouncing off her head rather than anything else.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it might have been a size boot. I think as she falls, she kind of gets a little bit of a knock. Yeah.
So the medical staff on for the first time this evening in what has been a very quick, I have to say, 38 minutes so far. It's been a very entertaining game here between West Ham and Arsenal, I think, as we would have expected.
Yeah, it's been very enjoyable so far. You know, I think West Ham will want to get in at half-time. Obviously, either, you know, if they can get another goal, brilliant, but they will not want Arsenal to concede just before half-time. It's one of the worst times, you know, for the opposition to score. So I think with this little break here, Diane Skinner's probably just saying, look, keep it tight. Let's get in at the half. We can have a real conversation about, you know, what to do in certain scenarios where we're getting hurt, and also where we can, you know, get in behind them, because West Ham have done that quite a lot. And I think with their attacking front three, you know, it'll be goals galore for them this season, and they'll hope that that starts in this game as well.
Olivia Smith waiting on the bench for Arsenal, among other players that Renee Sleggers might decide to bring on at some stage, but it looks like Beth Mead is okay to continue, which is good news. To just wait to be allowed back on to the pitch. It doesn't look like Rhian Skinner's being rained on too much, which is good news. Hopefully she's either undercover or the rain has stopped a little bit. Her opposite number is quite sensibly sitting down inside her dugout.
I think she's just assessing what she's going to say to the girls at half-time.
Yes, it's definitely a thoughtful Renee Sleggers, isn't it? She's very calm, though. Every time you hear about what she says to her players, it's about just, she's very calm in her instructions.
And I think as a player, you know, that can be so helpful, having that calmness, you know, on the side, and her just saying, look, I trust you. I just want you to do this. Go out and do it and execute the things that I know you can.
Here with Zadorsky. Asai. Tisiak. Nystrom. Headed back into midfield where it finds the head of Wueki. Asai down to Hanshaw. Mead gets in her way. Hanshaw ends up sort of backheeling the ball away from herself.
Yeah, I think as a winger there, you know, I'm thinking I'm driving, I'm dribbling at the last defender here, you know, so I'm trying to get myself in a good spot, but I think she's seen something that was behind her, but in my head, I'm thinking, you know, just dribble and try and get in the box, and then if they do take you down, it's then, you know, penalty, or they have to be really careful.
Arsenal with a throw-in late in this first half. After Alessia Russo, she just seems to chase absolutely every ball. She's got an extraordinary amount of energy.
Yeah, she is one of the hardest working players I've ever come up against. And
here it's with Caldente, low in from her. Walsh hugs it to her chest. Mornham back to Caldente. Mornham again. Does she fancy a second before half-time? McCabe. Martinez helping out defensively, just doing what I was talking about earlier in commentary. Controlled by Fox, forward by Reeds. Mornham out to Meads. Fox on the overlap. Ball to the far post and out of play, in fact. Almost hits a few of those photographers waiting next to the Megan Walsh goal.
Yeah, credit to West Ham, you know, they have not stopped running in this game so far. Everyone's getting back in, doing the defensive duties so well, and I think that's then making Arsenal make, you know, them bad decisions, and obviously putting not the best ball in the box. That comes from the defensive work that West Ham are putting in here.
Fox, Gorey, sliding in was Meads. Good turn from Little. Reeds come forwards. Catley and McCabe as well. Looks like all the outfield players inside the West Ham half for a moment. Too far away from finding out how much stoppage time there'll be at the end of the first 45. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes shown by the fourth official. Here it's with Ford. Ford with a low drive. Bounces off a West Ham shin. Back to Fox, ends up dropping down onto the pitch. Launched forwards to Martinez, and 3 minutes added on to the first 45. I suppose we've had 2 goals, and we had that bit of treatment to Beth Mead, I think. So maybe 3 minutes feels about right.
Yeah, I think 3 minutes is fair. Have to say that Mornham there, her spatial awareness on the pitch is outstanding. Just watching her, she knows where her players are, she knows where the West Ham players are. She's so spatially aware of what's around her.
With Martinez. Headed away from Asay. Now with the West Ham captain. Forward from Zadorsky. Away by Little. Now with Tisiak, and West Ham are pushing themselves forward towards the end of this first half, but that might mean that they are in danger of Arsenal finding space like they're doing now. Although Walsh manages to get there before Alessia Russo. But West Ham were pretty high up the pitch there, weren't they? But it put them in danger of a counter-attack from Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal on the transition, so dangerous. You know, they can change from defence to attack so quickly. And I think Russo just needs to make a little run to the front post, you know, being the first player in the box. Just run to the front post and kind of, if you get it, you score at the front post. If you don't, then you're opening up space for your other players at the back post.
Into the last few seconds of this first half. Maybe some of those players might need a change of shirt if they're able at half-time. With Ueki squeezed by a couple of Arsenal players. Forward from Tisiak. Mead with the header. Zadorsky back to Walsh. Now with Gorey back to Walsh again. I think West Ham just seeing out this first half at the moment, Molly.
Yeah, I think they just need to get in, you know, 1-1 at half-time. It's a great start from West Ham. They've done so well. Just get in, regroup, have a chat from the manager, and then come out in the second half and, you know, go and try and win the game. There's no reason why they can't. They've got great players on the pitch and they've worked so hard.
With Ford. Ford cuts it back. Russo's there. Mead is too. Is there time for one more corner before half-time?
I think she is going to let them take it, isn't she? I didn't hear
a second blow of that whistle.
So yeah, West Ham just have to, you know, do the defensive duties so well here, and don't let themselves concede before the half. So I think Beth Mead wanted that ball off Russo's foot.
The corner is taken. And now there is another blow of the referee's whistle. And it is half-time here at the Chigwell Construction Stadium. Daphne van Domselaar's own goal giving West Ham the lead, but then Frida Leonardsen-Mornham, her second goal in as many games. West Ham 1, Arsenal 1 at the break. Welcome back to the Chigwell Construction Stadium, just waiting for the second half to get underway, and there will be a change made by Arsenal right at the start of this second half, and Frida Leonardsen-Mornham who scored that goal to give Arsenal their equaliser in the first half, is replaced by Stina Blackstenius, who, if memory serves, has scored quite an important goal for Arsenal in the recent past.
Yeah, I think she has actually, yeah.
She will always be remembered for that goal in the Champions League final. And she is a player who, more often than not, is used as an impact player, as a player who comes off the bench, Molly.
Yeah, and as a player, that's not ideal, because that's not what you want. You want to play, but she's so impactful coming off the bench, and she always makes a mark on every game that she comes onto. So I think Arsenal are hoping that she can do that again here at West Ham.
She was rather humble after what she achieved against Barcelona. Didn't want to have all the fuss made about her. I think you'll find that her teammates and the Arsenal fans had other ideas about that. So that change made by Arsenal right at the start of this second half.
Yeah, looks just from, you know, this first 40 seconds that Blackstenius is going to go as the 9, and Russo might just play a little bit in behind her.
It's with Blackstenius at the moment. Zadorsky sticks with her. Fox with the throw. Russo. Back to Fox. Van Domselaar's ball headed up into the air by Denton. Tisiak then almost turns it into the path of Blackstenius. And West Ham have set up right from the start of this game with a really solid defence. And I think one of the reasons that Renee Slegers has put on Blackstenius is to rather disrupt things at the back for the West Ham side.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, she always finds a way of getting in behind, and I think that's what Arsenal need to do, especially against a block like West Ham are playing. You need to get in behind them defenders, especially, you know, the centre-backs, try and get in behind them.
Sliding in goes Mead. How many times have I said that this evening? Decent ball in from Little. It's off the head of Tisiak. Back heel from Martinez. To Catley for the visitors. Uweki is there for West Ham. Now Gorey back to Walsh. And Skinner has spoken about her team working on not conceding as many goals. They started to improve, certainly at home, towards the end of last season. Scored more goals than they ever have in the Women's Super League. And got 5 wins and 3 draws at home. But only Crystal Palace conceded more goals than them last season.
Thank you for that
Sorry.
one. Yeah, I mean, when we played West Ham, you know, they were a force to be reckoned with. They scored, I think, 8 goals against us in both games, you know, put together. So they're a team that can score goals, and I think they just need to show it in this, you know, year of the WSL.
Nystrom. Back with Nystrom again. Bounces up to Van Domselaar. Would her teammates have spoken to her at half-time, Daphne Van Domselaar, or would they have just left her alone, do you think?
I think they'll have given her a pat on the back and said, look, it's a mistake, forget it, move on. That's what I'd have said anyway, you know, there's literally nothing you can do about it now.
When goalkeepers make mistakes, they're slightly more evident than elsewhere on the pitch. I think, is it Mead who's gone down? Play on, says the referee, because Arsenal are building up an attack here. Blackstenius ends up seeing her ball go behind the West Ham goal. But yeah, Beth Mead is gingerly getting back to her feet, and the yellow card is being produced by the referee, who'd let play continue. Initially, because Arsenal had the advantage, but it's Gorry, I think, who might well have been shown that yellow card. Ball here with Meads. Comes back, Russo gets her head to it. She certainly enjoyed Alessia Russo working with Renee Slegers as her manager, hasn't she?
Yeah, since the move from Manchester United, Russo's been brilliant, and I think, you know, that's because of her teammates around her, but also Renee has just absolutely brought the best out of her and really made her into a very, very good striker in this league.
Pass is collected by Fox. Say carries on chasing it. Walsh, though. Sorry, Van Domselaar. Back out to Fox, and now back to the Arsenal keeper. Nystrom intercepts Denton. Extra energy from the Arsenal substitute, the change made by Renee Slegers at half-time.
Yeah, definitely. She'll have a little bit more energy about her, you know, only having played the 6 minutes that's gone so far. But I do think that Arsenal need to... Oh, here we go.
And this is a shot, and Arsenal are ahead here. 6 minutes into this second half. They take the lead for the first time in this game. The changes that are made are evident immediately in the goal that's scored by Blackstenios off the bench and onto the score sheet. West Ham 1, Arsenal 2.
Yeah, and what a brilliant finish from Blackstenius there, you know. She's literally done exactly what she's been brought on the pitch to do. Takes her time with it, left foot into the bottom corner. Megan Walsh can do nothing to keep it out, but what a great assist from Alessia Russo. Really aware of her surroundings, and just another great goal from Arsenal, and that just shows you give them one chance and they can bury it and go ahead.
She likes her back heel, doesn't she, Alessia Russo?
She does. I think that's, you know, she's famous for her back heel now.
Well, Arsenal have now scored 10 WSL goals from substitutes since the start of last season. I'm going to say that's 3 more now than any other team, but because before this evening it was 9 goals, 2 more than any other team. And I've asked co-commentators, those who are managers in the past, why don't you start the players that have an impact off the bench? But it's about kind of wearing teams down first, and then you throw on a player like Stina Blackstenius or...
It really is, and I think if you are that player, you're disappointed because you want to start. Every player wants to start, you know, if I'm on the bench. You know, every player wants to play, but the impact she makes from the bench is something special.
And she understands her role. That's a question that I think Renee Slegers is asked about her and about other players who maybe don't start games. She says that she kind of explains that they're all important.
Yeah, and I think that's essential in creating such a good team dynamic. For all the players to feel like they're important.
Arsenal quickly forwards. Comes to Russo, whose shot is blocked by 3 players. Now it's Ford. I think she might be offside. few arms raised by West Ham defenders, and her look of disbelief will tell you that she's seen a flag raised. Well, it was from one end of the pitch to the other. It felt quite quickly, but here we can see that Ford was behind Nystrom when she collected that ball. Ford there again. She wants a goal now, doesn't she?
Yeah, really tidy finish, but just a shame she were offside, and I think that's kind of given her a bit of a boost, you know, seeing the ball go in the back of the net. It does give you a boost.
Sixth full season with Arsenal for the Australian. 13 goals in all competitions last season. Scored 4 in one of their Champions League qualifiers, because of course Arsenal really had to start from the beginning of that competition that took them all the way to the end. Here it's with Denton. Now Tisiak. How do West Ham respond now to Arsenal going ahead for the first time in this game early in this second half?
Yeah, I think obviously for Arsenal, it's exactly what you want coming out of the changing room, you know. Slaggers will have said, try and, you know, score early, put the pressure on them, and, you know. And for West Ham, obviously, it's exactly what you don't want, but I think now West Ham just have to trust in their abilities and go and try and score, because they need to put the pressure on now, and they need to try and create some chances.
They scored more goals last season than the club ever had before in the Women's Super League. But having had one shot on target in what ended up being that loss against Tottenham last weekend, they are trailing here against another London opponent. Meets Caldente. Caldente rolls it forwards. Walsh gets there. Ford was right with her. Brought down by Caldente. I'm not sure if the flag might have gone up again.
Maybe, but that's brilliant goalkeeping from Walsh. Goes in with her legs and stops the ball from going in the back of the net, and she's quick to get up and get herself on top of it so that Arsenal don't get another chance. Really good goalkeeping by Megan Walsh there.
Maybe wouldn't have expected, as I said, to be playing in the early stages of this league season, but for that injury to Shemek against Tottenham. But even though she hasn't been playing league football for West Ham recently, she is an experienced WSL player, Megan Walsh. Here it's with Ueki. Caldente takes it away, now with Nystrom. Pass just a bit too heavy. You can probably hear how heavy it was, because it was right by that microphone.
Yeah, I think West Ham are, you know, trying to get themselves up the pitch. Just need to be a little bit cleaner and tidier with the passes, especially when they get into Arsenal's final third.
Nystrom clips it forward, just bounces over the head of Gorey. Now a pass that finds Ford. Will the flag stay down this time? Still with Ford, cuts it across. An attempt at a back heel from Mead. They're trying all sorts of trickery at the moment, Arsenal.
Yeah, what a great ball to Ford down that left-hand side, and she picks out Mead in, you know, against two West Ham players. It's just a shame she couldn't get full contact and get it on target for that one.
The hour mark has been reached. Martinez looked at close range by Little. Now back with Catley. West Ham having had the lead in this game. Now Arsenal 2-1 up. But they're not going to be happy with just a one-goal cushion, are they?
No, I think Arsenal, you know, that's their mantra, isn't it? Go and try and score as many goals as possible, and they will look to do that throughout the full game, and West Ham have to keep it tight at the back, you know, we've said that, but they also, you know, they're losing now. They have to try and get on the pitch. They have to create opportunities for people like Asai and Martinez, who can score really important goals for the club.
Well, Caitlin Ford, that flag was up even before she'd found the back of the net, but kind of bounced off Siran there, didn't it?
Yeah, it's a disappointing one, that, because, you know, obviously the Arsenal player hasn't played it through.
Here with McCabe. Ford, quick give and go. Still trying to get the ball. Tysiak slid in.
That was
Ford,
kind of, please give it to me, but I know it's actually not a penalty there from Ford, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Good tackle, she got the ball and just ended up getting a little bit of the player as well. Fortunately, that sometimes happens, but good tackle in the box there.
Tysiak did well there. Corner is taken short. Comes back to Caldente to the far post and headed in. She was going to get a goal this evening, one way or another. And she does head it in to put Arsenal further ahead. That's the third for Renee Slegger's side tonight. They now lead West Ham by 3-1.
Yeah, great goal by Caitlin Ford there. Really, really good header and a great ball in. You know, just puts it on a plate, does Caldente for Caitlin Ford there. And I think Arsenal will be very happy with that. And I think from that offside goal that she scored, she got a little boost, didn't she? And she wanted a goal, definitely. And credit to her, she's done really well so far in this game.
I think this half, she's probably had more of the ball than any other player out there.
Yeah, not only, you know, creating chances, she also makes some great runs down the wings. And at some point, you're going to get rewarded for all your hard work. And that's what's happening to Arsenal right now.
Right, I think I saw Olivia Smith being ready to come on, and she does come on now. And it's Beth Mead who makes way, who I think has had an exceptional evening, I have to say.
Yeah, Beth Mead's played absolutely brilliantly. She's an assist queen, isn't she? You know, she always seems to get an assist. But really good for a start, you know, in the WSL. And long may that continue for Beth Mead.
And West Ham say, oh, thanks very much. We're losing 3-1, and you've brought on Olivia Smith, who made all sorts of headlines after her £1 million move.
Yeah, and I think with Arsenal's bench, it's a really difficult one, because whoever they bring on, you know they're going to make a really big impact.
Another flag is raised. Looks like a couple of changes for West Ham when they get the opportunity, but she scored a brilliant goal at the Emirates against London City Lionesses. And I spoke to her afterwards, actually, and said, you know, do you feel the pressure of that price tag? And she said, no, I like it. I like the attention.
Good for her. That is elite mentality, I think.
Getting a goal on your debut in front of over 38,000 fans at the Emirates.
Elite mentality. Just showing that she's, you know, worth the price tag.
Well, there's more and more money being spent on players in the Women's Super League, as a couple of changes are made by the home side. And Poubelle is one of the players who's coming on. Verena Hanshaw is coming off. And Ines Bellamou is also coming on. And Shakira Martinez is coming off. So yes, Poubelle is probably going to be more where Martinez was. And Bellamou has come on for Verena Hanshaw. So yeah, a double change by West Ham.
Poubelle's give them that outlet, you know, where they can hit it in behind and she can run onto it, fresh legs. I think that's a really good decision for West Ham.
And Ines Bellamou, new last season from Bayern Munich. What can West Ham do to get themselves back into this game against such tough opponents?
Yeah, like I say, I think the over-the-top ball is going to be really handy for them with fresh legs coming on.
Forward to Blackstenius, who came off the bench at half-time and scored to put Arsenal ahead in this game. Now with Russo to Smith. And Bellamou is there. And that's interesting. So, assuming the West Ham defenders come on and been told to stick like glue to Olivia Smith.
I think so too, yeah. I think if you give Olivia Smith a yard, she can just run straight past you. So I think that'll be good defensive work in there for the West Ham left back.
Arsenal's form ahead of this evening. They've won 14 of their last 17 WSL games. I mentioned earlier in commentary that their last two away games of last season, a 5-2 defeat away against Aston Villa, a 4-2 loss at Brighton. So 9 goals conceded in those two away games. But they are 3-1 up here now. West Ham took a while to get their first win of last season. It took them till their 7th WSL game of the season. 4 losses and 2 draws before a win against Leicester. And that strong second half to the season, which included all those goals from Shakira Martinez, who is off the pitch. She didn't finish the match against Tottenham either, actually, Molly.
No, but she is a game changer, isn't she? And she was when she came in for West Ham at Christmas. She absolutely took the league by storm and kind of put it in her own hands to keep West Ham up, really, because her goals were instrumental in the wins and the points that they got.
But if Rianne Skinner wants to get something out of this game, she's taken off one of the players you might expect to create those opportunities, as she did for the own goal in the first half.
Yeah, and you never know, it could be something to do with fitness. She could maybe have a knock, that's why she can't finish a game on. It might just be something as simple as, you know, get Poubelle on, fresh legs, put it over the top and see what we can do and see if we can go and get 2 goals.
Here it's with Smith. Walsh dropping down at their near posts. Throws it quickly out to Asay. Caldente gets in the way. Comes out to Ueki. Now to Asay. Siren running forward. Russo helps out defensively. The referee has to cock a leg to stay out of the way. Tagore. Ball pass from her, straight to Caldente. That's the last place she wanted to find it. Now Blackstenius in a battle with Zadorsky that sees the West Ham defender end up on the pitch.
Yeah, Zadorsky's done really well there to stop Blackstenius because she is really fast, and that ball is just a straight ball down the middle. Blackstenius running onto it, and I think, you know, if Zadorsky doesn't do well with her body there and get in front, then Blackstenius is onto that ball. And probably putting it in the back of the net from what we've seen this evening.
Catley back to Van Domsela. Short pass to Reeds. Looks for Smith. Bellamou is there. A clip on the heels of Russo. It's fair, says the referee, who saw that. Now with Gorry, but Katie McCabe just says, leave that for the goalkeeper, because there was no one in claret and blue, really, for that pass defined.
Yeah, it's a shame, really, because West Ham do so well to stop Arsenal defensively, but it just seems like when they get into the half and the final third, they're just kind of hitting and hoping. And, you know, I understand it. You're 3-1 down, you want to get into the opposition half, but it'd be better if they could find a player and work their way up the pitch that way to try and create a chance, rather than giving it away and having Arsenal on the attack again.
Have made some changes, West Ham, but some of the players out there, maybe some of the passing now is starting to look a little bit tireder. Saying that, almost picked up by Poubelle. Forward from Van Domsela. Little to Russo. Fox. Olivia Smith said she's come to Arsenal to learn from her teammates, to grow from her teammates. Very humble despite her price tag.
And what a place to learn.
Yeah.
You know, at Arsenal, surrounded by this group of girls, you're going to learn so much. It's a great place for her to be.
Up to Russo. Russo cuts it back. It rolls behind the players who are in there. Comes to Catley. Little to Reeds. Feels like every outfield player is getting a touch at the moment. It's Fox who cuts in. She stays up the pitch. Smith might be able to play this in, and Nystrom has to turn it behind. They're being held back inside their own 18-yard box at the moment, West Ham, aren't they?
They are, and it's all from Arsenal's really good, precise passing. I think, you know, there must have been at least 10 passes in that little build-up there, and a really good ball from Olivia Smith. And, you know, Nystrom has to put it behind because there is a player coming in at the back post, so it's really important that Arsenal keep doing this and try and score more goals, but West Ham have to get the ball up the pitch.
They've got their latest corner. Short to McCabe. McCabe strikes it in. It was difficult to see for a moment quite where that ball was going to end up.
Yeah, and I think Katie McCabe is so technically good there. She doesn't even, you know, have a run up to that cross. She just takes the touch on her right foot and can swing her left foot in and put a really precise ball to the back post. And as a player running in, that's exactly what you want. That must have been, you know, straight from the training pitch, that one.
Caldente up to McCabe. Now with Fort. Zadorsky probably aware that Olivia Smith was in a rear-view mirror.
And Arsenal just look so relaxed on the ball, don't they? They just look, they get the ball and they know where the teammates are going to be, and they can just play it and work their way up the pitch. They look really, really relaxed.
another corner. Caldente and McCabe are the players closest to it. Short by the Spanish international to the Irish international. Now comes to Smith. Oh, that looked like a great opportunity.
Slightly leaning back as she struck that ball, Olivia Smith. That was a great effort. Just leaning back slightly.
Another change for West Ham. Manuela Pavi is the player who comes on. And Eva Nyström is the player who comes off. So a defensive player is sacrificed for a more attacking player. As Pavi comes off the bench, the Colombian international.
And I think that shows that West Ham are obviously going for it, getting an attacking player on for a defensive one.
So that back five becomes a back four.
I think it does.
Here with Caldente.
Yeah, it just gives West Ham a few more options, you know, going up the pitch. Especially with players like Pavi and Poubelle to run in behind and try and turn that Arsenal defence and get in West Ham's final third rather than being so defensive.
Rhian Skinner spoke about the work ethic that she'd created in her team, and when you hear from her players, they say that she's so precise in the coaching that she does and so clear about everything she wants from her players.
I think that has shown tonight. You know, West Ham have been very, very disciplined. They've played well. But when you come up against a team with so much talent like Arsenal have, it almost becomes an impossible task to not let them score.
Just one win in 8 WSL games, Rhian Skinner as manager against Arsenal. It was a win in February of 2024. As far as head-to-heads go, West Ham have won 11 of the 13 games that they have played against each other so far, and look to be heading towards a 12th as things stand. Ball is with McCabe. Ball is with Russo. Now Reed, Pavi with the Arsenal defender. Back to Van Domselaar. Now it's McCabe who runs into a bit of space. Forward to Ford, already on the score sheet in this second half. Ford, and the ooze from the crowds will tell you how close that was.
Yeah, and I'm going to give all credit there to Kim Little. Obviously, it's a forward player, as you see, take the shot, but Kim Little just gets the ball and passes it and moves and gets it again, and she's like a magician in that midfield. She works it out so that her forward players have the chance to go and try and score. She just gets it and she moves and plays it so effortlessly.
More changes being made, and Mariona Caldente comes off. Victoria Pelova is the player who comes on for her. It's like Katie McCabe might be coming off as well. So her evening is done. And Taylor Hines comes on, a new signing, one of the new signings for Arsenal in the summer, although she's not new to Arsenal. She's a player who's returned to the club.
Yeah, great servant at Liverpool, and I think she'll do really well at Arsenal as well.
Well, she's on the ball already, Hines. First touch from her. Now it's Pavi. Catley able to tell Reed that it's fine. She knew where that ball was going.
Yeah, good movement from Reed to get a body in front and then move out for Van Domselaar to be able to give it to her instead of going long.
Just away from Palova. Gory now. Tisiak. Denton to Pavy, back to Denton. Little push by Fox there, was it?
I think it was, yeah. On Pavy, was it?
Bellamy might be the player who's...
She doesn't look comfortable.
So free kick for West Ham into the last 10 minutes. Home side has had the lead in this game. Arsenal with 3 goals in response. West Ham are away against Brighton next. The next home game be against Chelsea.
Exciting one.
Another tough one.
Yeah. No games are easy in this league, though. You know, speaking from experience, it's just one game after another where it's so tough.
Arsenal have a game against Manchester United to look forward to after this one. Here it's with Ford. Controlled by Blackstenius. Maybe not quite the control she wanted, although I thought she'd done rather well, actually, with her first touch.
Yeah, I think it was a difficult ball in from Ford to Blackstenius, but she did really well and just couldn't quite get that control like she wanted to. But Arsenal do well again to, like, Alessia did really well there to get it down the wing and get on the attack. I think Arsenal just want to do that for the remainder of the game.
Now it's a free kick Arsenal's way. That was Fox and Bellamou together again, I think. This time it's the West Ham player who commits the foul.
Good battle out there.
Iweki trying to lean in on Reeds. Comes to Pavy. Boubel is there. And maybe in the end, Pavy just held on to that ball a little too long.
I think so, and I think there are a little shout of handball as well, but when the hand's by your side like that, it's a tough one to give.
With Pavy again, some urgency from West Ham in the last 10 minutes of this game. Boubel lays it back. Gorry, well, she shaped for a shot, then decided on the cross instead. Out to Pavy. Van Domselaar just chested out at a near post. It's a West Ham corner, I think, and I haven't said that many times this evening.
Yeah,
I think that's the shout for a handball, isn't it?
Yeah, the hands are by his side. It's really difficult. Like, you can't give that as, you know, the referee. If she gives that, she's going to hear it from the Arsenal players, I think.
So yeah, confirmation that 10 corners for Arsenal, and this the first for West Ham. And play is stopped because it looked for a moment there. I thought for a moment as if Olivia Smith might have hurt her head, but it does look like it's her stomach that she's clutching.
Yeah, I think Gorry's gone up with a knee in the air. It's caught Olivia Smith in the stomach. I think she might be a little bit winded, but good defending from Arsenal to get that away.
But I think going back to what might have potentially been a controversial moment there, I think it was, as you say, I think it was ball to hand rather than hand to ball, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's the thing of if the defenders, you know, got the hands by the side and they're not making the silhouette any bigger.
We shall write an essay about natural positions on a football pitch at some stage.
Some of them are very controversial.
Yes, they are. Goritueki. And I heard that.
I heard that
yeah.
too.
I think that I felt that
right
as well.
Microphone.
Yeah. So player down for Arsenal as there is a player change for West Ham. And Siran is the player who's coming off.
Yeah, Vanderleer.
And Vanderleer is coming on.
You've got the pronunciation better than I have.
I've heard her say it. I'm just repeating what I've heard her say. So, yes, the Swiss international, the youngster who was at the Euros. And Steph Catley is still being treated here. And, you know, not a huge amount of runoff here, really, at this ground.
No, when we played there, we found that the sides are not very big, and if you are getting pushed, you're getting pushed into the sides. I think I fell over the Barclays sign at the top when I was playing. That was nice.
Well done, though, for saying Barclays. I'm not sure if she's okay now, Catley. She's had that treatment. She was off the pitch when she had that treatment. So she's back on her feet, which is good. As here at Sassade, some shouts from the home fans who thought they might see a chance there from their number 20.
Yeah, and I think aside as well to, you know, go after that ball, but Van Domselmaar's in the great position where she can come out and just clear her lines there and get a team, you know, out of danger.
Cross in, hugged by Van Domselaar. West Ham have looked better since the changes, haven't they?
They have, yeah. These past 10 minutes have been really, really good from West Ham.
Alessia Russo is the Barclays player of the match. I've got to say, I think there are a few contenders. I thought Beth Mead was probably the player of the first half, and I think Caitlin Ford has been pretty impressive in this second.
No, I would agree. I do think Russo, she works so hard and she creates chances for a team, and even when she doesn't score, she's still such a presence on the pitch, and you feel it when you're playing against her. She makes herself big, and she can hold the ball up for a team, and as she's shown since Black Stenius has come on, she can do two jobs, you know, playing in that 9, playing off the 9 in the 10. So she does play a really, really important role for Arsenal. But I do think Beth Mead's also, give credit to her and Caitlin Ford, they both played brilliantly in this game as well.
Lotte Wubben-Moy will be coming on for the last 3 minutes or so. And that's for Catley, who we saw getting that treatment after ending up in the advertising hoardings.
Yeah, really good to see Lotte coming on. She absolutely loves Arsenal. She makes it known over all her social media, so you know this will mean a lot to her to get on tonight and play a role in this game for Arsenal.
6 starts, 5 appearances off the bench last season for her, but signed a new contract in the summer, so she is staying at Arsenal for the long term. Had an injury disrupted season last season, which would have been frustrating, wouldn't it, building up to a Euros as well for Lotte Wubben-Moy.
Yeah, it's really difficult when you're picking up injuries and you're trying to get ready for a major tournament, but she carries herself so well. And obviously her signing a new contract shows how much she feels valued at the club. You know, sometimes it's not about if you're playing or starting every week. It's See if you feel valued with the manager and the players that are around you as well. That's so important as club culture and playing in this league.
And even if you're getting limited time, who knows, you might be able to enjoy a Champions League win at some stage. Here it's with Little, who lifted that trophy. Now with Smith. Comes to Russo. Russo! Superb! The player of the match scores the goal of the match. A wonderful strike from Alessia Russo. It looks as if Arsenal are going to win yet again by 4-1.
What an absolute rocket from Alessia Russo. She's got that ball, touched it out of her feet and absolutely stung it into the top right-hand corner of that goal. What a finish from the player of the match.
Yeah, we'll give her that now, shall we?
I think she's definitely been the best player tonight. I said that, to be fair. But it just shows that for all her hard work, it gets to the 90th minute and she's still there, still working hard and, you know, gets a goal in the end, gets a chance, and she deserves that from her performance tonight. She absolutely does. She absolutely does.
And for all West Ham's hard work as a squad and as a team, there are players in this Arsenal team of individual quality like Alessia Russo that are always going to score goals like that if they get the chance.
Yeah, I think sometimes players like Russo, like, you know, Ford, can just have a moment of magic. And for all West Ham's good work and defending, they've defended really well. The 4-1 down at the end of the day, and that's really tough to take for them tonight.
Oh, Smith is brought down. Oh. What has the referee given here?
I think she's given a penalty.
Yeah.
From my angle, it looked like she got the ball a little bit there, but there's no complaints from the West Ham fans, so I think it, you know, it's the right decision from the referee there to give that penalty.
Well, it's Bellamou who was brought on, I think, with dealing with Olivia Smith in mind.
Yeah, no ball there, all player, and she's a really, really difficult player to deal with, Olivia Smith. So when she's running in the box at that speed, Bellamou's just gone in a little bit too hard and not got any of the ball, but...
So Alessia Russo from the spot has scored already this evening, just before we entered the 90-minute mark. Now Megan Walsh facing her second penalty in successive games for West Ham. Russo to make it 5, and she does! From the spot, Alessia Russo scoring 2 late goals in this game. The second from the penalty spots. And it's going to be a big, big win for Renee Slager's side, who now leads West Ham by 5-1.
Yeah, great penalty from Alessia Russo. She is Arsenal's golden girl at the minute, isn't she? Getting on the score sheet twice after the 90th minute, but great penalty, really tidy, straight in the bottom corner. And even though, you know, Meg Walsh has gone to the right side, she's got no chance in saving that, because it is such a good penalty.
Goal scoring might not be done yet. Here it's with Smith. Smith turns it in, comes to Russo. She couldn't score a hat-trick, could she?
Could she? We'll see.
Well, she's got just under 3 minutes to do that, and there might be a bit more added on, of course, because that penalty was awarded and taken in stoppage time.
I can tell you right now, all she wants is a hat-trick.
Just double-checking that graphic, just to confirm, Arsenal have definitely scored 5 goals in this game.
They have indeed,
yeah.
Yes.
Blackstenios put Arsenal ahead for the first time in this second half after coming off the bench. Caitlin Ford then making it 3-1 to Arsenal. And then Alessia Russo with a goal from open play. And then the player who placed the ball down to take the penalty. Well, Rhian Skinner will know that this game has well and truly gone from her grasp.
Yeah, it does feel like it kind of slipped through West Ham's fingertips when Arsenal scored their first goal, I think. Obviously, West Ham being 1-0 up within the first 5-6 minutes. What a brilliant start, but it has just kind of slipped through the fingertips with the magic of the Arsenal players, really.
9 goals so far for Arsenal in their first 2 WSL games of this new season. They were asked what they could do to close that gap to Chelsea in 2025-26. And I think that's exactly what they are doing. Here it's with Blackstenius, gets behind Tisiak, and will make sure she saves with her knees. If she hadn't done that, I thought I was going to be talking about a 6th goal for Arsenal.
Yeah, I think Blackstenius should have taken that a little bit earlier, because it does look like Meg Walsh has come out of a goal kind of not centrally. I think if Blackstenius had took that on her left foot and just slotted it past her, would have been an easier finish, obviously, than what she ended up doing, but she struggled to get out of her feet a little bit there.
Leads to a corner here. Forward to Asay. Asay's cross. Vondelea was there, but so was Reed. Never mind that the West Ham goal now will make little difference to the outcome. Now with Ueki. Referee has taken one look at her watch as it comes back to Gori. And her shot wide is the last action of this game. And it will be back-to-back victories at the start of the season for Arsenal. Even though Rhian Skinner's team had the lead from an own goal, Frida Leonardsen-Mornham making it 1-1 at the break. Then Stina Blackstenius off the bench to put Arsenal ahead. Caitlin Ford to make it 3-1. And then 2 from Alessia Russo. It's a big win for Arsenal. They've beaten West Ham by 5 goals to 1.